In this video I was asked to react to the Titanic SimplePlanes movie by Olympic, Titanic, Britannic, and Airplane Productions, and that's one word. I'll leave a link to the original video in the description below, and let's get started here. So he also does plane videos as well, and that's kind of the perspective of this, as if he's in a plane because that's a plane instrument, I believe. This brings me back to 3rd grade. I learned about the Titanic when I was in 3rd grade, maybe 2nd grade. That's when I watched the movie. I think I watched it when I was younger, but didn't really watch it until later. And I realized, okay, these are what icebergs are. And yeah, it was a very sad and tragic movie, but it was one of the most popular movies out there. I also like the old film filter, the black and white and the old footage seeming, so it's a nice effect. Yeah, this took place in 1912, April 14th to the 15th. I think it struck on the 14th somewhere past 10 p.m. if I'm not mistaken, and then it sunk between 2 and 3 a.m. the next morning, if I remember correctly, in the northern Atlantic. When I was in high school, the youth group, one of the captains at the Presbyterian church and drummer, he was a buff about the Titanic, and he knew everything about the Titanic and where, the origin and the countries and everything. So, and I used to know a lot of numbers, but not as much as he did and such. So this is neat. He's getting all the angles going around the ship. So it's just fascinating. Titanic was known or thought of as being unsinkable. I mean, in 1912, it's just amazing in and of itself that they were even able to build that. I mean, it was a marvel back in the day. It's neat how the moon is in the background and the stars as well. Sometimes when I see starry nights, I try to pick out the constellations because I'm familiar with the northern constellations, or at least most of them. So. Actually, I heard a fun fact that the astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson actually corrected a starry scene in the Titanic movie. In fact, so if you look that up, it's pretty interesting. So here's where the Titanic splits in two. That's when the first half, the bow of the ship sinks, and then the stern, or the second part, is going to come up and then sinks, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and there's the first part that sinks, and then there's the stern. Yeah, and then it's going to sink. I mean, throughout my life, I always, it's one of those things like what must have went through those people's mind, those who have died and those who were rescued and such. I remember in recent years hearing about the remaining survivors and ultimately the last survivor who passed away. So this was a internationally known tragedy indeed. Well, splendid job creating this. I know it took a lot of time to create it and put it together, and even with the effects, adding the black and white and the old film effect and such, very well done. So again, I'll leave a link to the original video in the description below. And also kind of takes me back to like 3rd grade, give and take. I would actually choose Titanic as my like creative writing themes or reports, maybe history reports, and it actually nagged my teacher after a while until he said, okay, no more Titanic, okay, you've already written a lot about the Titanic. That was back in 3rd grade. Well, anyway, this just evoked back when I was 8, so, well, anyway, have a great day, everybody.